caused it. The push from Marina Mabrey. I didn't even think about that, bruh. Who just did it? I didn't even.
Again, I believe the WNBA have successfully broken Caitlyn Clark.
This is exactly the kind of disgusting behavior that's killing the WNBA from the inside out. Marina Mabrey just proved she's nothing more than a violent bully who thinks she can assault the league's biggest star and walk away laughing. But guess what? The consequences are finally catching up to her, and fans are absolutely done with this garbage.
Because I believe she was hurt during the Las Vegas Aces games. Those was the last 2 games she played bad. The Marina Mabrey push could be the hump that broke the camel's back. I think it was that push, bro. I forgot all about the damn push. Wow, that could be what injured her. Because she pushed the hell out of...
On June 17th, during what should have been a competitive basketball game between the Indiana Fever and Connecticut Sun, Marina Mabrey committed what can only be described as assault. The footage shows everything. Caitlyn Clark getting poked in the eye by J.C. Sheldon, Clark understandably pushing back to create space, and then Mabrey charging in like a linebacker and body slamming Clark to the ground.
Marina Mabrey shoved Caitlyn Clark to the ground after she slashed in the eye by one player, rushed by another. Like, I can clearly see why some of y'all teams in the WNBA are just not successful, bro. Like, y'all don't know how to act. We just gonna call it for what it is. Y'all don't know how to act. Like, there's basketball stuff, and then there's just completely playing dirty.
But here's the part that makes your blood boil, the complete lack of remorse. While Clark was writhing on the ground, potentially injured, Mabrey was seen in the background with a smirk on her face, acting like she just delivered the hit of the century. This woman literally thought she was funny, dancing around after potentially ending the career of the player who single-handedly saved women's basketball from obscurity. The referees, they watched this assault happen in real time and gave Mabrey the same technical foul they gave Clark, the victim. Think about that for a second. The woman who got attacked received the same punishment as the woman who did the attacking. That's not officiating. That's a complete breakdown of professional basketball.
I am really trying to figure out why the entire WNBA acts like they hate Caitlyn Clark. Maybe not the entire WNBA, but in tonight's game with the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun, it was a dead ball and Caitlyn Clark literally got shoved to the ground. This tweet really sums it up. Marina Mabrey shoved Caitlyn Clark to the ground. Again, it was a dead ball. She didn't get ejected from the game. If you watched the game, it was very evident. It looked like Caitlyn got hit in the eye by a different player. Play is over, and then both of these players from the Suns come over and just knock her to the ground. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't understand why this is all happening to Caitlyn Clark, who's brought so much attention to the league. Frankly, revenue and viewership numbers. She single-handedly has made the broadcast rights go up.
If you are enjoying, please subscribe. But here's where Mabrey's dirty hit becomes even more infuriating. Clark was already dealing with a quad injury before this incident. The heating pad footage from previous games shows she was playing through pain, trying to gut it out for a league that clearly doesn't appreciate her. Then, Mabrey comes along with her cheap shot, and suddenly Clark's injury situation gets worse.
This time it is her left groin. So it is near the quad area. Her first 2 injuries, though they were separate, they probably were like a causation correlation type of injury. And those were 2 separate injuries in her quad muscle. And this is an injury to her groin. It's really hard to say like when or how she got it. There are a lot of images circulating showing that she did have her quad taped up during the Connecticut Sun.
Now Clark is sidelined for who knows how long with a groin injury that developed after the incident. Coincidence? I don't think so. When you're already dealing with a muscle strain and someone body slams you to the ground, your body compensates in ways that create new injuries. Mabrey didn't just assault Clark. She potentially caused a domino effect that's now costing the league millions. The numbers don't lie about what Clark's absence means. WNBA ratings have plummeted over 50% since Clark got injured. The Fever's nationally televised games are averaging 1.81 million viewers with Clark, compared to just 847,000 without her. That's a devastating 53% drop that's directly tied to Mabrey's actions.
People are wondering, why the hell was Caitlyn Clark in this game, a game that was over? With 16 seconds left against the Storm, they won the game.
Basketball of
but
the season.
some people are saying that Caitlyn Clark got injured
As Clark's back in.
right
She
there.
goes down.
All right, on that play
And
that just happened, that it may be where the injury transpired. Right?
The fan reaction has been swift and merciless. Social media exploded with calls for Mabrey's suspension, with fans demanding answers about why the league allows their biggest star to be targeted. The petition for Sophie Cunningham to be protected while Mabrey faces consequences has gained massive traction, with thousands of signatures demanding real action. How is she not suspended has become the rallying cry across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Fans are pointing out the obvious: you can't promote a player who assaulted your biggest draw and expect people to keep watching. The WNBA's own social media posts featuring Mabrey have been flooded with angry comments demanding accountability. But it gets worse. Fans are now threatening to boycott the league entirely if Mabrey doesn't face real consequences. The comment sections are brutal. Fix your league. You're gonna lose so much support if Caitlyn gets hurt over some bullshit hatred hit. These aren't casual fans. These are the people who started watching because of Clark, and they're ready to walk away if the league won't protect her.
The WNBA continues to fail to meet the moment. Terrible decision to allow Marina Mabrey to stay in the game. People are watching as never before, and this is what they see, ? Absolutely. Her comments are completely on point. The league has got a chance to now actually sell itself. I mean, it's a league, and I'm just going to be honest, it's a league of some of the most unlikable athletes ever created, which makes it a tough watch for a lot of people. So now we've got people we actually like and sort of want to watch, want to support. And this is the product the league is putting out.
The league's response has been nothing short of embarrassing. After initially giving Mabrey just a technical foul, public outrage forced them to upgrade it to a flagrant 2. But that's it. No suspension, no meaningful punishment, just a fine that probably amounts to pocket change for a professional athlete. Meanwhile, Mabrey has shown zero remorse. Her response to the controversy? Damned if I do, damned if I don't. That's not an apology. That's defiance. She's essentially saying she doesn't care about the consequences of her actions, which tells you everything you need to know about her character. Coach Stephanie White was absolutely right when she called out the officiating as bad and described it as a league-wide issue. She pointed out that everyone is getting better except the officials, and she's not wrong. The refs have completely lost control of games, allowing star players to be targeted while the league stands by and watches.
Acting and standing up for her teammate. So evil.
Well, damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Marina Mabrey, damned if I do. Did she just say damned if I do, damned if I don't? She just knocked someone on their ass for no reason from behind. She freaking Marcus Morris them. Well, no, sorry, Nikola Jokic on Marcus Morris her.
If I do, damned if I don't.
I hate that one up.
Like, it's just basketball, man. Y'all love that shit in the NBA, though. It'd be cool when the dudes do it.
People were calling for Jokic got a suspension for doing what Marina Mabrey did to Marcus Morris. Jokic literally...
Here's what makes this even more infuriating. The timing couldn't be worse. Clark is leading All-Star voting with over 515,000 votes, more than any other player in the league. The All-Star game is scheduled for July 19th at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Clark's home court. This was supposed to be Clark's moment to shine in front of her home crowd, but thanks to Mabrey's assault and the resulting injury complications, Clark's availability for the All-Star game is now in question. The league's biggest drawing card, the player who single-handedly made the WNBA relevant again, might miss the showcase event because some jealous player decided to take out her frustrations through violence. The market has already reacted. Clark's MVP odds dropped to plus 210 following the latest injury announcement. That's not just a betting line change, that's the market recognizing that Clark's absence significantly impacts her individual recognition chances, all because the league failed to protect her.
She had a preseason injury that was the quad. Then it was an aggravation of the quad, and now it's the groin on the same side of the body. I would not be betting her MVP. I don't think it's that important to the team. I don't want to say it's not important to her, but to sit here and bet her at 2.25 at BetMGM is not something I have any interest in. I was happy to bet her the day before she came back when it was 450, 475. But now that you're at 2.25 and we have another injury, a different injury, no, you will not get my money on MVP. No way. Now, title's a different story. You could still bet them 5-1 to win the title. If they just make sure that she's cool and are precautionary with this, of course they could win the title. But I'm pumping the brakes on anything in season, whole season, big picture, because...
Let's talk about the financial impact of Mabrey's actions, because numbers don't lie. Ticket prices for the highly anticipated Clark versus Angel Reese rematch dropped 42% after Clark's injury announcement. We're talking about a crash from $137.00 to $80.00 average ticket prices. That's not just a price adjustment, that's a demand collapse. The broader economic impact is staggering. Clark's games averaged 1.19 million viewers, while games without her averaged just $394,000. That's the difference between a thriving league and struggling afterthought. Hotels in Indianapolis see booking spikes that correlate directly with Fever home games. A $75 million 0-cents practice facility is under construction specifically because of Clark's impact. All of this economic activity is now in jeopardy because Mabrey thought it would be fun to body slam the league's golden goose. The ripple effects extend far beyond basketball. This is about an entire economic ecosystem that revolves around one player, and Mabrey's actions have thrown it into chaos.
But I will contend, and I will die on this hill, that she has been hurt for as long as this three-point streak, the struggling streak. Look, guys, it's one thing to struggle and be like 5 of 23 or 6 of 23 or some shit like that. 1 of 23 tells you there is something physically off about the shot. All right, she'll miss her 6th game of the year tonight against the LA Sparks.
This wasn't an isolated incident. It's part of a systematic pattern of targeting Clark that the league has allowed to continue unchecked. Multiple sources have reported that players like Mabrey have been given a green light to take liberties with Clark because the referees have established a pattern of non-calls. The footage from multiple games shows Clark being grabbed, pushed, and physically dominated in ways that go far beyond normal basketball contact. Players are specifically targeting her, knowing they can get away with it because the league has failed to establish proper protection protocols for star players. Mabrey has built her entire brand around being a physical agitator, and now she's crossed the line from tough play to assault. Her career stats show she averages 2.3 personal fouls per game over her career. But this goes beyond normal fouls. This is targeted violence designed to intimidate and potentially injure.
They're literally hurting her on purpose. On purpose. And the league is letting them do this. Just gonna watch these referees cheat. Because that's what they're doing. They're freaking cheating, bro. They're cheating. They're cheating, bro. Happening, bro. This league is definitely a hot mess. It definitely is. And we're watching them cheat the Indiana Fever. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, bro. I am sick of it.
The most infuriating part of this entire situation is the blatant double standard. While Mabrey gets a slap on the wrist for assaulting Clark, Sophie Cunningham faces potential suspension for defending her teammate. Think about that logic. The player who committed assault gets to keep playing, while the player who stood up for her assaulted teammate faces harsher consequences. The WNBA is essentially telling every player in the league that you can attack Caitlyn Clark without serious consequences, but don't you dare defend her. That's not just bad policy, that's encouraging the kind of behavior that's turning fans away from the sport.
Caitlyn Clark getting basically wrecked. This is one of the worst decisions that I have ever seen any league engage in. Caitlyn Clark is the biggest draw for a team sport in my life relative to the audience that would be fans of the sport without her. Bigger than Michael Jordan was for the NBA, bigger than any NFL star has ever been. All of those sports were very popular before those athletes got there. Caitlyn Clark is the golden goose. Every game she is dropping golden eggs, and they are trying to strangle the golden goose to death. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
This situation has become an international embarrassment for women's basketball. Tennis legend Chris Evert called out the WNBA's handling of the situation, writing, "When will these ladies realize, accept, and appreciate that Caitlyn Clark is the best thing that ever happened to women's basketball? This is a bad look for the sport and what's happened to sportsmanship." USA Today columnist Christine Brennan was even more direct. The WNBA continues to fail to meet the moment. Terrible decision to allow Marina Mabrey to stay in the game. People are watching as never before, and this is what they see? These aren't random critics. These are respected voices in sports who understand what's at stake. The WNBA had a chance to show they're a professional league that protects its stars, and they completely blew it.
Because the refs ain't gonna protect her. She only got one teammate, and that's her, who gonna do something about it. Like, yo, yesterday, that's malice in the palace activity. Call for it. That y'all should have been throwing hands all over the place. How do you get poked in the eye, then get thrown to the ground, and then you receive a technical foul? And don't none of your teammates want to step up, fight, squabble, none of that. They just looking like, yo, it's been, we know that y'all been targeting Caitlyn Clark now. Now, I'm even watching. I'm like, hold on, what? Like, how are y'all letting this happen? How are y'all not protecting this girl?
The league now faces a critical decision point. Do they finally acknowledge that allowing players to assault their biggest star is bad for business? Or do they continue pretending that what happened is just part of the game? The fan reaction suggests the answer is clear. The irony is palpable. A league that desperately needs stars, attention, and revenue allowed its biggest star to be injured through a combination of dirty play and incompetent officiating. Now they're learning exactly what the WNBA looks like without Caitlyn Clark, and it's not pretty.
Caitlyn Clark. You would have thought that the arrival of this superstar in the WNBA would have been seen as what it is, which is the greatest thing to ever happen to the WNBA. So she arrives, and of course, my thought, a white woman from Iowa in a 74% black league. That's an issue. And I look at the way players like Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, Cheryl Swoops with her flurry of falsehoods, Cheryl Reeve, the Olympic coach, Gina Auriemma, really tried to minimize her and were very critical of her. That stunned me. You should be saying, this is great. You don't have to cheer for her. You guard her.
Marina Mabrey needs to face real consequences for her actions. A fine isn't enough. A flagrant foul upgrade isn't enough. The league needs to send a clear message that assaulting star players will result in meaningful punishment, not a slap on the wrist. The next few weeks will determine whether the WNBA is serious about protecting its stars or whether they're content to let jealous players assault their way to relevance. Based on their track record, fans aren't holding their breath for real accountability. But one thing's for certain, if Marina Mabrey isn't suspended for her assault on Caitlyn Clark, the WNBA will have officially proven they care more about protecting bullies than protecting their most precious asset. And that's a reality check this league can't afford to ignore.